How's it going, everybody, and welcome to this week's vendor reset video. This week we've got some great weapons, some great mods, some great gear pieces. But unfortunately, as you may know, since 1.7 drop, blueprints are now shared across all 4 characters, which makes it incredibly tricky for me to go through the blueprints because I've pretty much got every blueprint in the game. So without me setting up a brand new Uplay account and buying Division again, and then leveling the characters to 30, I can no longer bring you the blueprints. I think that's going to be the same for a lot of content creators. So in future vendor reset videos, I will not be covering the blueprints, but as they're in the hub at the special blueprints vendor, and that tends to be where everybody starts the game, I'll leave it up to you guys to go and check out what they've got for sale each week. However, I will continue to go through each checkpoint, each safe ice, and the base of operations, and bring you my recommendations every single week for those pieces that I think will be very, very useful for you guys, especially for the new players in the game, but equally some of the mods and some of the gear pieces that I will highlight on a weekly basis will also benefit veteran Division agents alike. So without any further waffling from me, and without much further ado, let's jump in and see what the vendors have got for us this week. So over at the special equipment vendor this week, we've got a nicely rolled Pakhan. It's not an amazing roll, and it's only around a 50% damage roll, if that. But it has rolled with Unforgiving, Competent, and obviously the Pakhan talent. I would roll off Unforgiving for something like Destructive, and you've got yourself quite a reasonable PvE Pakhan. In addition to the Pakhan, we've got a really well rolled Alphabridge Mask. It comes with 1000 armor, which is a 1 or 2 off the maximum, 1129 firearms, 3% crit chance, and burn resistance. I would roll up the firearms to get a max roll if you can, or maybe roll it to electronics. Because of that 3% crit chance, if you're putting together an Alphabridge build that relies heavily on crit chance, then I don't think you'll get a better PvP Alphabridge Mask. Next up, we have a really well-rolled Tacticians Authority pack. I would say this is bordering on God roll for a Tacticians Authority pack. 1281 armor, which is not max. 1260 electronics, which is about 12 off the maximum. Pre-rolled with a high skill power roll and ammo capacity. So pick one of these up if you don't have one already. We also have some accomplished Kneepads. They come roll with 1503 armor, 1206 stamina, enemy armor damage to elites. I would roll off the blind death resistance for increased kill XP and keep these as is, just to unlock maybe destructive on one of your weapons, and you've got yourself an almost god roll pair of accomplished Kneepads. Like I said, the armor's a little bit low, but if you haven't got any better ones, to pick one up. We also have some really well-rolled striker Kneepads, 1659 armor, 1132 firearms, skill power, burn resistance, disrupt resistance, and bleed resistance. I would potentially roll up the firearms as high as you can, or maybe roll the skill power to health, and you've got yourself a really nice pair of striker Kneepads. Again, in the Kneepads, we have a really nice pair of Predator's Mark Kneepads, 1642 armor, which is getting up there towards maximum, 1218 stamina. They come roll with health, blind, disrupt, and disorienting resistance. I would roll the stamina for either firearms or electronics, and again, you've got yourself an almost god roll pair of Predator Kneepads. And now down to the gloves, we have some Reclaimer gloves. They've rolled 960 armor, which is not too shabby. 1215 firearms, assault rifle damage, crit chance, and crit damage. I would roll up the firearms, or maybe roll them to electronics, and you've got yourself a decent pair of Reclaimer gloves. And then keeping with the gloves, we have some Banshee Shadow gloves. These come roll with 989 armor, which is not too shabby. 1154 firearms, assault rifle damage, pistol damage, and crit chance. If you're looking for a pair of Banshee Shadow gloves and you don't have a decent pair, then I would consider picking these up and maybe rolling off the pistol damage, crit hit damage, and yeah, you got yourself an okay pair of Banshee Shadow gloves there. At the base of operations weapon vendor, we've got a decent PvE Super 90. It comes rolled with Deadly, Unforgiving, and Ferocious. I would roll off Unforgiving for something like Responsive or Destructive, and you got yourself a decent PvE shotgun. And then over at the Cavern, we have a decent prototype performance mod. Support station range at 6.5%. I would pick up 1 or 2 of these if you're looking to run a healer build and really spread out that support station range. 3 or 4 of these, and you could have a support station that spans the entire street. And then over at Kerman Station, we have a really well-rolled ACR. It comes with about an 80% damage roll. It's come rolled with Prepared, Brutal, and Destructive. I would potentially roll off something like Prepared for Responsive, or maybe Ferocious if you're spec'd into electronics. and firearms, and you would have yourself quite a respectable ACR. It's not one of the best weapons in the game, but if you're looking to play about and change things up, I would definitely pick one of these up. And then over at the Camp Hudson weapon vendor, we have another Super 90, this time with Self-Preserved, Adept and Ferocious. I would potentially re-roll Self-Preserved for something more fitting to a shotgun build, but you know, you're looking for a shotgun with a bit of crit chance and a bit of PvE damage, then pick one of these up and roll off Self-Preserved. Over at Madison Stand, we've got a really good Inventive Backpack. Comes rolled 1205 armor, which is not amazing, but it does come rolled with skill power and ammo capacity. I would recommend that you roll the stamina to electronics, and you've got yourself a reasonable Inventive Backpack. And then we also have a 4.5% ballistic shield damage resilience mod. If you're concerned with the defense nerf that we've just had with 1.7, pick up a couple of these and get some of your damage resilience back into your shield. Over at the Ward, we've got a prototype electronics mod. It comes with 251 electronics and 3% skill haste. So if you're looking for electronics mod with skill haste and you don't have one already, pick up a couple of these and you won't go too far wrong. I would in future look for some higher rolls on the electronics, but for right now, these will do you just as well. This time over at the Southpaw Safe House, we have a 6% turret duration mod. Pick up 4 of these if you're looking to extend the life of your fire turret or your shock turret, and you'll get quite a healthy bump to the amount of time that your turret stays out. This time over at the Firewall, we've got a really nice Tenacious Mask. It comes rolled 913 armor, which isn't maximum, 1168 firearms, which I would recommend that you roll up. It also comes rolled with 9402 skill power and burn resistance. So if you're looking for a Tenacious Mask and you don't have one, and one that will perform quite decent in PvP, then pick up one of these and you can't go too far wrong. Over at the DZ West 46th Street vendor, we have a Ti-RANT Suppressor. It comes with 7% crit hit chance, 5.5% headshot damage, and 4% crit hit damage. If you're looking for a suppressor that's going to give you a little bit more crit hit chance, and crit hit damage, and headshot damage, which is the perfect trifecta for one of these type of muzzles, then I would absolutely pick one of these up. Next, over at the DZ West 42nd Street vendor, we have a decently rolled Black Market SAS-GS. It's got a 70% damage roll. It comes rolled with Brutal, Predatory and Responsive. I would look to roll away Predatory for another talent of your choosing, and you've got yourself quite a reasonable SAS-G, and certainly one that's worth picking up if you don't have one already. Now over to the DZ West 34th Street vendor, where we have an M700 Tactical. Comes with 172% headshot damage, which is the maximum. Comes with Deadly, Commanding and Elevated. I would probably look to roll away something like Commanding for another of your choosing, maybe Prepared. It's not got a huge damage roll, it's about 52% damage roll, but certainly worth picking up if you don't have a really good sniper rifle. And if you're running a crit build, that headshot damage, Deadly, and maybe Prepared and Elevated, if you can get all those talents to proc at the same time, you will have yourself a really nice M700 Tactical. Next up, we head over to the West 31st Street vendor, where you can find a 5% support station healing mod. Pick up 3 or 4 of these and you have yourself a healthy chunk of healing for any of you guys who are running healer builds. We also have a really nicely rolled extending mag. It comes with 111% magazine size, 2.5% crit chance and 5.6% rate of fire. Pick one of these up if you don't have a better one already. Over at the DZ East 53rd Street vendor, we have a 6% first aid self-heal mod. These are invaluable, especially for those low skill power players who are looking for an extra boost for their heals. Pick up 4 of these and you've got yourself a healthy chunk of first aid self-heal. Over at the Dark Zone Special Gear vendor, we have a really well-rolled defense backpack. It comes with 1330 armor, 1228 firearms, 16% stability and ammo capacity. I would potentially look to roll the firearms up higher, or maybe roll it to electronics, or if you wanted that little bit of health, then maybe roll the stability over to health. But other than that, you've got yourself a really nice defense backpack. In addition to the backpack, we have some really nice Predator Mark Kneepads. They come roll 1654 armor, which is right up there at max, 1251 electronics, which again is quite a decent roll. The major attribute is all resistance, which I would probably look to roll to health or to another talent of your choosing. Keep the minor attributes the same and you've got yourself a really nice pair of Predator's Mark Kneepads. And while still at the Dark Zone Gear vendor, check out the Tacticians Authority gloves. They come 947 armor, 1235 electronics, enemy armor damage, health on kill and skill haste. I would roll the health on kill to something like assault rifle damage or the damage type of your primary weapon, and you've got yourself a really nice pair of PvE Tacticians Authority gloves. The DZ6 Dark Zone vendor, we have some nice Reclaimer gloves, 966 armor, which is not too shabby, 1207 firearms, pistol damage, LMD damage and crit damage. I would roll the pistol damage to crit chance and you've got yourself a reasonable pair of LMG Reclaimer gloves. At the DZ5 weapon mod vendor, we have a light vent break. Comes rolled with 19% crit hit damage, 5.5% headshot damage, and 2.5% crit hit chance. This is a really nice rolled light vent break, and I will certainly be picking 2 of these for myself. Crit damage, headshot damage, and crit chance are 3 of the best attributes that you can get on a muzzle. So yeah, pick up a couple of these, put them into your crit builds, and you've got yourself a really nice light vent break. At the DZ4 gear mod vendor, we have a prototype performance mod. Comes rolled with 4% pulse duration. If you're looking to extend the lifetime of your pulse, then pick up 4 of these and you've got yourself a pulse that will stay up there, 15-16% longer. At the DZ3 weapons vendor, we've got a really well-rolled enhanced AUG A3P. It comes with capable, brutal, and competent. I would roll capable for deadly, and with that 22% crit chance that you've got, and quite a reasonable damage roll, you've got yourself a really nice enhanced AUG A3P, and it's one of the best SMGs in the game, in my honest opinion. So absolutely, if you don't have one of these already, pick one of these up and roll capable away. And that wraps up this week's vendor reset video from me. I hope you found 1 or 2 items in this list useful. I know I've picked up 1 or 2 items this week. It's not been a bad week. It's certainly not been as bad as last week. Hopefully next week will bring us some new weapons, some higher rolled weapons, some better gear sets, and things like that. But we won't know, like I said, until next week. So check back next Saturday when I'll have next week's vendor reset video ready for you. I hope you're all having lots of luck grinding the global events this week and getting those global event caches and getting your classified gear sets. I know I've been trying as hard as I can to get onto the leaderboards, get myself some of those masks as well, and picked up 1 or 2 vanity items from the free encrypted cache fragments that drop from open world bosses and dark zone bosses. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. I like to keep these videos as short and sweet as possible. This week's has been a little bit longer than usual because there has been 1 or 2 items that I thought were worth mentioning where we didn't have that issue last week. If you did like this content, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And finally, if you think I missed something that you guys think is worthy of being in this list, let me know down in the comments below. But like I said, that's enough from me. Until next time, my name's been Cal. You guys have been absolutely amazing as always, and I will see you guys in the next video.